For over a millennium, physicians believed personality was determined by the balance of four bodily fluids. If you were prone to anger, you had too much yellow bile. If you were perpetually sad, it was an excess of black bile. It was a medical system built entirely on physical guesswork. In 1633, René Descartes proposed a more mechanical alternative. Observing the hydraulic fountains at Versailles, he imagined the human body as a complex system of pipes and valves. In his view, the physical body was a machine, while the mind was a separate, immaterial entity, a ghost directing the parts from within. This division placed the mind outside the reach of physical science. Because the soul was seen as immaterial, it was considered impossible to measure or observe. This left a void lasting centuries. How could scientists study something they couldn't see? The shift occurred in 1879 with Wilhelm Wundt. He believed that if the mind was the source of our experiences, then those experiences could be timed and recorded like any other natural event. In his laboratory in Leipzig, Wundt moved psychology away from philosophy. He used precision instruments to measure the exact milliseconds it took for a person to react to a sound or a flash of light. By documenting these mental processes, he proved that the inner workings of the mind were quantifiable. Wundt's lab successfully transformed the study of the mind into a hard science. However, this success triggered a century of conflict between different schools of thought, each claiming they had found the true center of the human experience. The first major challenge to Wundt's focus on conscious experience came from the idea that we aren't aware of most of our own thoughts. Johann Herbart proposed that ideas have energy, competing with one another until the losers are pushed below a threshold of consciousness. Sigmund Freud evolved this into a revolutionary theory that our conscious awareness is only the visible surface of a much larger, darker mental landscape. Freud described the mind as an iceberg. The small tip above the water is the conscious ego, but the massive structure beneath represents the unconscious. This hidden depth contains the id, a collection of primitive drives and repressed memories that dictate our behavior without our knowledge. Carl Jung expanded the scope of this hidden world even further. He argued that beneath our personal secrets lies a collective unconscious, a reservoir of universal archetypes shared by all humans, regardless of culture. This movement redefined humans as subjects of their own hidden depths. It suggested that our choices are not our own, but are instead driven by internal forces we cannot see and can rarely control. John B. Watson led a fierce backlash against the study of the unconscious. He argued that if you cannot see a thought or a dream, it has no place in science. For Watson, psychology should only be the study of what a person does. Behaviorists viewed the human mind as a biological machine that responds to its environment.
In this model, you aren't driven by an id, you are programmed by the inputs you receive and the actions that follow. Ivan Pavlov provided the evidence for this programmable nature. By pairing a bell with food, he taught dogs to salivate at a sound. This classical conditioning proved that even involuntary bodily responses could be hijacked and trained by environmental cues. B.F. Skinner refined this into operant conditioning. He showed that behavior is a direct result of its consequences. If an action is rewarded, it is repeated. If it is punished, it stops. While this approach brought mathematical rigor to psychology, it also removed the concept of personal choice. It reduced the human experience to a set of habits shaped entirely by rewards and punishments. By the 1950s, a new generation of psychologists realized that conditioning and unconscious drives still couldn't explain the full range of human behavior, especially how we act when other people are watching. Albert Bandura's Bobo doll experiment revealed that we don't always need a reward to learn. Children who watched an adult attack a doll imitated that violence immediately. This proved that humans learn through observation and social modeling, often absorbing behaviors just by being part of a group. In the post-war era, this social influence took on a darker significance. Scientists studied the Holocaust to understand how ordinary citizens could be led to commit atrocities. Experiments by Stanley Milgram and Solomon Asch provided a chilling answer. They found that most people will ignore their own senses and even their own moral compass when pressured by an authority figure or a group of peers. These findings suggested that we are profoundly vulnerable creatures. Our thoughts and actions are not just products of our biology,
but are constantly being reshaped by the social environments we inhabit. This century of research leaves us with a difficult question. If we are steered by unconscious drives, programmed by our environments, and pressured by our peers, where is the room for the individual? The modern answer is that we are an integrated system of all three. Our minds are a constant conversation between our biology, our habits, and our social world. Identifying these hidden forces provides the specific information required to intervene in them. When we recognize a conditioned response or a social pressure as it is happening, that behavior is no longer automatic. Awareness turns a compulsion into a choice. This is the logic behind Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow. By deliberately structuring our environment and our challenges, we can quiet the distractions of the ego and social pressure to reach a state of peak performance. We use our knowledge of the mind's mechanics to optimize how we function. The pioneers of psychology showed us that while the mind is influenced by many invisible forces, those forces are not absolute. By documenting the triggers of our behavior, they gave us the tools to observe our own reactions and, for the first time, decide for ourselves how to respond.